everyone, it's Raina. So this video is looking at the total solar eclipse in the sign of Aries, and this is occurring on April 8th, and I'm in the central time zone in the United States. It's going to occur for me at 1:17 p.m. So if you're in Europe, it will be in the evening time, I would imagine. I think England or UK is like 6 hours ahead of me, so 17. And if you are in the southern hemisphere like Australia, New Zealand, this may be actually on the 9th in the morning hours. I don't exactly know the time difference between me and there, but I would imagine, I think it's around 16 hours. So there's a possibility that it could be the next day. But, 8th or 9th of April. And it's at 19 degrees of Aries, okay? The number 19 is really interesting because it's a 1 and a 9, and when you add it up, it adds to a 1. So that does give off that catalyst vibe to it as a degree. And if you think about it, this is how the solar eclipses work because they're powerful new moons. So we can look at them as initiatory energy, but that also implies that something is ending or leaving the person's life for something to get activated. Activation is a good word as well. And so April in numerology is a 3 universal month, and you get that by adding the month 4 with the year 8, and that reduces to a 3. And this is a number that is associated with abundance, probably due to its connection to Jupiter. So there can be, we could call that luck, or if you want to call it good fortune. It can be a happy time. And if you add the whole date, it adds up to an 11, which is a master number, which that is pretty wild for an eclipse, because an eclipse in and of itself is a very fated event. And the 11 being a master number means that it holds a high vibration. I am an 11 life path in numerology. You find out your life path by adding up your date of birth. And that has to do with spirituality. And, that shouldn't come as any surprise to us because it's pretty mainstream, this 11:11 phenomenon. And I see 111, 222, 444, 555. I see so much. And this is one of those times when we have a date with destiny as far as eclipses are concerned. We just had a lunar eclipse on March 25th, and I was listening to something, I don't know if this has happened to anyone, where you're listening to something on YouTube with your headphones, and then all of a sudden it goes to something else. Now, this is happening usually when I'm walking, so I'm probably jostling my phone in my pocket. But the point is that I started listening to this thing, and they were talking about P. Diddy being arrested, and they mentioned that he was arrested on March 25th, and that was the date of the lunar eclipse. And the reason that this is important is because this is a very pivotal point in our evolution as a human race. And you might be saying, what does P. Diddy have to do with all of this? And it's not about him. It's about people that have been in positions of power, who have been elevated in our society, and we're seeing them being exposed, okay? And he's just, he's not even the biggest fish. But it just gives, the reason I brought that up was because I was talking about how eclipse energy brings things out. And with the lunar eclipse is when that happened, that is really like it's a full moon energy, so it can bring secrets out. But even with the solar eclipse, it's almost like I see it as an instant evolution. And part of evolution, especially when we're talking about it as it pertains to Aries, is sovereignty, is the fact that we are free as souls. It's very hard to grasp this concept because of how we have been controlled. But it's something that you have to pierce through the illusion to be able to see it, because on the surface, it would appear the exact opposite. And certainly there have been those that were put in place to try to keep us down. And it succeeded for a large part, but it's starting to weaken. And people are going to rise up. And the Aries energy is very rebellious, okay? Now, I want to talk about something very strange that some of you may have also picked up on as it pertains to this total solar eclipse on the 8th or 9th. Now, I live in the United States, and the solar eclipse is going to be cutting through certain states in particular, and so people are, traveling to those areas so they can get the, front row seats of the solar eclipse. And I live in Illinois, and it will be cutting through Illinois, but it'll be cutting through southern Illinois. And I actually know some people that are going to southern Illinois from the Chicago area, from neighboring state, to witness this total eclipse. I read more than one article, more than one state, where they are making preparations for the solar eclipse. I am not a spring chicken, so I've been around the block a few times. I have never heard anyone talk about the any preparations to be made regarding the solar eclipse. As a matter of fact, we had I think it was a total solar eclipse in Leo back in 2017. And yes, I did stare at the sun, and I'm still, able to see. I do wear glasses, but I have since I was a kid. And I'm not, that doesn't mean I'm suggesting that you stare at the eclipse, but I'm just saying that that's what I chose to do. And in any case, the point that I'm trying to make here is that they're actually going to not have school on that date in at least one location. It might be more. They're going to have the National Guard in some town in Oklahoma. I just think that there's something up because I'm a conspiracy realist. So I don't know if any of you picked up on that, but yeah. And this is not, business as usual, because that eclipse in Leo in 2017, which is 7 years ago, is something that also should have warranted that, and it didn't. So you figure that out, what might be happening. Now there might be some reasons why this is occurring. So let's talk about the energy around this astrologically. First of all, whenever you have a new moon, or in this case a solar eclipse, the sun and moon are in conjunction with one another, and it's a total conjunction. I could say it's perfect, but actually the minutes are slightly different. Sun is 23 minutes and moon is 21 minutes. So this indicates that there is a concentration in energy between the sun and the moon. They're in alignment and they're in Aries. So is Venus and Mercury. So we have that, and we also have the North Node and Chiron, all in Aries. North Node is 15 Aries. Chiron is an exact conjunction with the sun and moon with this total solar eclipse. The Chiron is at 19 degrees, 24 minutes. The sun is at 19 degrees, 23 minutes. This is like cray-cray. This is like unbelievably close. Chiron is the wounded healer. This is the asteroid that is connected to our wounding. What is our wounding? Well, of course, it varies from person to person, but in general, we do have collective wounds, which the chart for this solar eclipse would speak on. And I just hinted at it because we're talking about Aries, we're talking about freedom, the wound of enslavement, the wound of not being free. And so, yes, it is very possible that an outer event that is very significant comes into our conscious awareness at this time. And it's very tricky because the eclipse energy extends before the date and after. So it's hard to just like pin it to this day. If you are sensitive to energy, you may already be feeling this, and it may look different for each person, but how it can manifest is a feeling of anticipation, maybe even a buzzy feeling, or I can't tell if it's like that's what it is, or I'm just over caffeinated. So let me just leave that there. But I do feel like it's like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, basically. And I can also say that when the sun went into Aries, there was this enhanced kind of aggressive energy because Aries is ruled by Mars, the god of war. So whenever you're talking, and Aries is a cardinal sign, our astrological new year this year was March 20th, and that's when the sun goes into Aries every year, and it begins a new cycle. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the first house. So it really deals with these issues of the self. The first house is the self. So the fact that we have these conjunctions is really wild. With Chiron, this can be an opportunity for humanity to heal. Again, there may be some specific news item or event that occurs that actually leads to some kind of collective healing. This could be some kind of disclosure, but I almost see it as something that is more aggressive or warlike, like for instance, the arrest of somebody prominent who may have been creating so much discord for the collective. By the way, the United States is really highlighted with this solar eclipse. And I realize that people who live in other parts of the world get a little bit tired of the United States being promoted so much and focused on so much. But it's not just about some kind of an agenda to market the United States to the rest of the world or anything like that. There really is more to it and what the United States represents, and how the United States has been messed with as well, because whether you like it or not, the United States is pivotal to as it pertains to other countries, you know what I mean? So it's very important that the United States remain strong so that other countries can also remain stable. But when you have these eclipses hitting the United States, like the one that's going to be occurring, and this is the most powerful one in 100 years in the United States, that really says that there could be a major event that stems from something in the United States. Remember that all of the entertainment, or I shouldn't say all of it, but a lot of it comes out of the United States that the rest of the world consumes. So it's something that it just so happens to be here, but everyone participates. When the sun is in conjunction with Chiron and the moon with Chiron and Mercury with Chiron, this is all about the self and how we perceive ourselves. With Mercury, for instance, it can be painful memories that we are aware of. This could almost be like a full moon in a sense, or a lunar eclipse, because of the emotions that are being evoked. And the sun and moon are also in conjunction with the North Node, which really enhances just the sense of destiny, the sense of this was meant to be. And some people say that we signed up for this. And by this, I am talking specifically about the last 4 years in particular. And for people who are a lot younger, who may be in their early 20s right now, there's a totally different vantage point. But for somebody who is much older, who has lived on this earth many decades, I can tell you that the last 4 years are like, I was going to say batshit. I mean, seriously. And there's a reason for that. It's not just randomly happening. That's the important takeaway here, is that there is a method to this madness. Even if it seems hard to kind of piece together because of the kind of things that you see in the news, in your everyday reality. And this could be with people that you know, that you find you do not have the common ground that you used to have. All of this is very, very much what we came here for. So we have front row seats in this regime change at the highest level. And it's not pretty, that's for sure. So the point is that, with the Aries aggression, it blends with this Chiron energy that is softening and making more sensitive everything that's going on. There's a lot of energy with Mercury here. The sun and the moon are in conjunction with Mercury. Mercury is squaring off to Pluto. It is in conjunction with Chiron, in conjunction with the midheaven. But we have to remember that, or maybe I shouldn't say remember because you might not know, but Mars is in Pisces. The ruler of Aries, Mars, happens to be in Pisces, the sign before Aries. So that means that actions have to be taken with the utmost awareness. Mars in Pisces can be self-destructive. It can do something without knowing why it's doing it, be kind of diluted in its aims, if it has any aims at all. And because of all of this Aries energy, there is a tendency to do things rashly, to want to just get on with it, to want to cut to the chase. Resist that temptation to do something that you're, getting riled up about. Maybe you're getting angry about something. Maybe you're being passionate, but your passion is being clouded and you're doing things without thinking. One thing, so there could, like I said, there could be this event, and I'm not saying this is going to be affecting everyone. Maybe it'll be in a particular area, and the people of that area, or the people who are visiting from that area, if this is in the line of the eclipses somewhere, they may react in a way which is, not the best, because they got hooked into their emotions and they got very aggressive. So let's keep a cool head. That's a very important thing to remember, is that we do not want to be manipulated. Because you will see, if you look, that there are times when this kind of, some sort of events occur, and it just so happens to be some other astrological event or whatnot. And I think I'm going to do a tarot reading on the eclipse for the collective, and maybe pull an oracle card or two, just to see what energies come up. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about it. This is a dynamic time, so I hope I'm not sounding too negative. This is a very courageous time. Aries is a very courageous sign. And we really do need to have courage, because we're going through some very dangerous times. There's no doubt about it. And I'm speaking to Americans in particular, but certainly the rest of the world can relate to that as well. But there are things happening this year that make it a very pivotal year. And because of that, there are certain individuals and networks that do not want certain things to happen. And so they'll do anything to prevent them from happening. And that's all I'm going to say, because we have communist level censorship. That's another thing that's going on. And something has to give. That's Aries is about, well, I should say all fire energy, you could say, is about the truth. As a Sagittarian and one of the fire signs along with Leo, I know that Sag is about the truth. But all fire signs are, fire relates to authenticity and truth and personal power. And, some people don't really understand why it's so important to have these things. You don't understand them until you lose them. And so we'll see what shakes out, if there is anything actually on that date that happens. It's going to be on a Monday where I live, and some of you, maybe it'll be on a Tuesday. Oh no, actually, I don't know how that works. Yeah, you'll probably have it on a Tuesday or something. But whatever happens, the point is that we may look back and we may say, oh yeah, on this date, such and such happened. Or it may be a catalyst, and then we see things starting to fall in place very quickly, like a domino effect. And I've heard spiritual teachers, or you could call them channelers, use that term domino effect, and that really resonates with me. This idea that one thing that is exposed, exposes others, and that gives that term, the Great Awakening, a real literal meaning. So that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.